I'm a badger.
Hey everyone, it is the TheAngryHoneyBadger here, and today it is time to take a look at another build. This time we're going to be looking at Annie, and the mid-season update realistically is what we're going to be focusing on a little bit in the coming, weeks you could say. More so focusing on those champions that were affected. Granted, every champion was affected because now there's a bunch of crazy mages running around that have way more power than they used to have. But today it will be Annie who we are going to be looking at, and that's kind of neat because Annie kind of got stale as time went on. Back in the day, she was a incredibly strong mid lane mage. Then she became a weaker mid lane mage, and then she became a support, kind of a stun bot and an initiator with Tibbers. But now she's kind of back because her kit's been reinvigorated with new power and potential. So today we're going to talk about her. The first thing we're going to do, though, is pop up those runes and masteries that you might want to take when you are going to play her. There they are on screen. Pause the video if you want to take a look at those more in depth and pull League open and write those down. But for now, let's move things on. As we get into a fight, a little 1v1 action. Luckily, Cinder takes that extra turret shot. Our support Ashe was roaming. Weird support Ashe, but it ends up working out, which is fine. I've seen it before, but still odd. And we trade 1 for 1. It's okay. It's not great. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. But let's talk about Annie's abilities now, in case we don't know much about them. Well, first off, we'll talk about the passive. That's Pyromania. After casting 4 spells, your next offensive spell will stun the target for a duration of time. The duration changes every 5 levels, so it's longer each time. That is your passive. So you can see that stack up underneath your health bar and underneath your mana, kind of like Jin's attacks when he is on his 4th bullet. Similar but different. Then at level 1, we put a point into Disintegrate. This is Annie's Q ability. We're going to max this out first. Disintegrate is one of the best abilities in the game for new players, in my opinion, because it is going to deal magic damage to the target, and Disintegrate deals a killing blow. If it does, the cooldown is reduced by half and the mana cost is refunded. This makes it an incredibly easy tool to use to farm in lane. And that is really good for people who are bad at farming because it's like a huge auto attack that then costs you nothing mana-wise, and that's really good. There, we're going to help Ashe blow up the Draven. I think I did most of the damage, but that's fine. Doesn't really matter as long as people die. That's a good thing. But Disintegrate is really, really effective tool to help you farm. If you are bad at farming, this is a champion you should be playing. She's very simplistic, and you can farm incredibly well with her. So, play Annie if you are not good at farming and you want to get better at said farming. We're going to max that out first, like I said. Then at rank 2, we typically put a point into Incinerate, which is the W ability. That, you're going to cast a cone of fire dealing magic damage, and it will hit all targets in the area. That's really all it does. Obviously, if you have your stun up and you use it, then you would obviously stun people. Same thing, obviously, with your Disintegrate. And then at rank 4, we put a point into Molten Shield, which places a shield around Annie for 3 seconds, reducing all the damage that you take by a percentage for that duration. Additionally, enemies will take a bit of damage when they auto-attack you, and this also helps Tibbers auto-attacks, I believe. No, could be wrong. There's a triple kill, that's fun. Roaming with Annie also really, really effective. One reason it's really good is in lane, if you do build up your stuns, typically the enemy mid laner will understand that you will look for an advantage to then use said stun, maybe with Tibbers and an Ignite to kill them in lane. So they usually play a little bit safer until you burn your stun, probably farming a little bit more. But running through the river and roaming means you can drop it without anyone really knowing it's coming. So roaming with Annie is very, very good to do. I recommend you doing it. Also, it's unbelievably how good roaming makes you as a player too. So maybe if you're not great at roaming or at farming, maybe Annie's like the perfect answer for you, honestly. And we're going to max out the Molten Shield last. And then we have Tibbers at rank 6, 11, and 16. Obviously, you're going to drop Tibbers. It's going to deal magic damage. He also does AoE damage. He has more health as you put more points into him. He attacks crazily quick, and he gets super angry. If you do get killed by someone, Tibbers will go and run after that person. Although sometimes, like right now, Tibbers goes kind of stupid and doesn't really attack all the time. I think he's slightly bugged, honestly, but you can control him if you want to press Alt and then click you can move Tibbers and tell him to tank turrets or tank dragon. Remember, you can have him do that. It's really, really effective, and that's a good thing to do. That's Tibbers. But that's Annie's kit. Really not a ton has changed. Mostly the tweaks to Tibbers being incredibly angry, which has made her a better threat in team fights, honestly. A tankier and a more angry Tibbers was a good thing. Besides that, you really would only save Tibbers for just part of your ulti to drop him and then have the AoE damage while he kind of did a little bit and he would take turrets. Now he gets angry, runs around faster, attacks faster, does way more damage in fights. And if somebody does kill you, Tibbers doesn't just go stupid and die. He now just gets angry and runs after somebody trying to kill him, and it actually works fairly well most of the time. And then we have the changes a little bit to Molten Shield, which were kind of nerf buffs. Mostly changes, but I think they're pretty good for when she is taking damage, since she is getting that reduced damage she's taking. So I'm okay with it. I like it. But for the most part, besides the changes to Annie, the big changes to Annie are the ones that involve the items in the game. And the first one that I have built, I can't even remember the name of it. That's how good it is. It's one of the new Hextech items. It's H018 blah blah blah. I probably should learn the name slightly better than that. I apologize. But you can see it. It's in the number 2 slot right now. But if you want to know what it does, it gives you, it's built from a revolver and a Kindle Gem. And what it does is you're obviously going to get AP and health and cooldown reduction. And then if you activate it, you will slide forward shooting the rockets. And that's the big part of it that we like on Annie's kit. Previously, Annie's big initiation was having your stun available and then flash Tibbers to get into fights. Now you can just use 2 and slide forward, and that's kind of like a little bit, it's not like as much of a flash obviously, but it gets you into position, and that is what you really want. And it's on a very short cooldown. You also shoot those rockets that deal damage. So that is a very, 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 very good thing for Annie, and that makes her initiations and the like her capabilities to start fights with stun. It brings that up way more often for Annie. So that is the first item we're gonna get. Also, I think that little bit of health that it gives you is just enough to make you less than fully easily killable squishy, if that makes sense. Oh, by the way, I figured out the name of the item. It's the Protobelt 01. The Hextech Protobelt. So yes, that's the first item I like to build. Then obviously we're going to go for boots, and the boots that we like to build are the magic pen, so Sorks. We're going to go for Sorks. Obviously, at the beginning of the game, we started a Doran's Ring and health pots. Simplistic, straightforward, and amazing. All the things we've ever wanted, and so much more. The third item, you actually do have some leeway after you finish your boots and your Protobelt, but honestly, I think Protobelt has to be first item on Annie. It's just too good on initiations and giving you that chance to get in without burning your flash. Especially now that you can't buy boot upgrades anymore from the store to try to get, that reduced cooldown on your flash. Annie players previously would have been doing that, maybe upgrading their boots and buying the enchantment sooner so they could always have a successful way to initiate, and that would have been Flash Tibbers with the stun available. But now, not a problem. Protobelt makes it so you can do that every, 40 to 60 seconds? It's awesome. Can't stress that enough, and that's why Annie's kind of been a menace lately. Also because Tibbers is crazy, but it's also just great to escape with it too. If you want to use that to escape, it's just another little dash to get away. Just a little bit more to stay safe. So don't even think about how you have to use it as an offensive ability. You can use it defensive too. So always something to remember. It's also a good way to just scare people, or if you want to do Flash and then Protobelt active to slide forward, you can cover even more ground if you really, really want to come out of nowhere. So those are your options with that. Now, the next item that we're building, or we did build, like I said, you had some open options. I went with another item that helps her initiate. Because realistically, I've said it already 8 times, but you're kind of getting a repetitive theme of where I'm going with this. Annie initiating with stun, Tibbers, stun whatever, having a big AoE stun and a lot of damage follow-up makes her, that's what makes Annie so good, and that's what you want. So the next item is the Ludens Echo, and Ludens Echo is going to give us way more damage, but it also gives us more movement speed, and movement speed is good for us to get into position to be able to drop that combo to stun an enemy team if they stack and do all that damage. It's very good. It also does that little bit of splash damage, further increasing all of the AoE damage she already does with Tibbers and with her W. So you kind of stack those two up. You get a lot of movement speed from Ludens. You get the increased dash/rockets from Protobelt. And you're sitting with a little bit of health and cooldown reduction from those. And you're going to be in a good spot early on. Now, the next item we are transitioning towards is to increase the damage that we have. And by getting even more damage, we are going to be building towards the Deathcap. And Deathcap, you really just want to start amplifying all of the damage that you have on Annie. There I just took balls to the face, but that is going to happen. But you really just want to amplify your damage at this point and build what you need to survive the oncoming fights. And get the correct utility items that make sense. So, obviously, if you were going up against another incredibly strong composition that had all AP or all AD, you'd need to tweak your build path to better reflect what you'd want, to do with your damage and where you wanted your damage to go. So if you were against a Karthus mid lane and they had a Vladimir top lane and they had a Gragas in the jungle, you probably would start to rush a Abyssal Scepter because you need that magic resist and you want some more damage, but you still get some pen. Like, you can't always just build in a straight line each time. I think that's something a lot of people forget all the time, especially if you are new and you're watching any video on League. It doesn't matter that, like, you saw it once or it worked once for you. You can never build the same thing over and over and over and over each game. You have to build to what makes the most sense and what you need for your team comp or against the enemy team comp. So if they had a Zed mid lane, yes, I probably still would have built Protobelt as a first item fully completed, but I would have also picked up Seeker's Arm Guard early on to get the armor get the armor as resistance against any Zed, especially since Zed's a lot stronger now since he can't cleanse his ult anymore. So it's just, you have to always be thinking what's the best move. Now, in my particular case against this team and where I want to play in our kind of front line and our initiations, the way the game is also going with my 9 kills and 10 assists, we're in a good spot to continue to build straight up damage to keep utilizing our already very good damage output. We don't have to build defensively quite yet, although it's always a good idea. It's never a bad thing. But we can just build the way we want to right now to continue delivering the damage that we have. Also, right now at this point in the game, it's actually a 4v5. We've lost our Jhin. So we're in a 4v5 situation, but that's okay because luckily we're all doing pretty good on our team. I'm trying to get up to this fight. This is a 3v5 going on right now. I'm going to come around and I have a stun available and they are going to stack. And this is what Annie wants to find, because once we drop our damage on them and we do quite a bit of it, you can really start to melt through teams, and this gives our team the opportunity to re-engage and deal a lot of damage. I end up picking a triple kill up. Tibbers is in there going crazy on Draven. We get the triple kill. We keep a couple people alive on our team. They don't even know that Jhin has disconnected, which is awesome for us, but that's okay with us. The next item we would typically be building, you do have options to start going across the board with other items. I'm going to keep the damage train going with this game, and I'm going to start to pick up a Void Staff. We get more damage, and we get lots of penetration with the Void Staff. And because of that, that's what we want next. It's just going to be a good thing to get. Other things you could get are Rylai's. It can be quite good. Getting that extra health is very nice as well. I did mention that Hourglass is a good buy too, because once you're in there and Tibbers is doing all his AoE damage, if you have to stasis, you can stay safe with your stasis. He can continue to do damage, and your team can regroup around you if you do get caught up. It also does give you good resists. And the Abyssal, like I said, is always a good item to pick up depending on that enemy team composition, because it will give you good penetration as well with some magic resist. But that is the build for Annie. It's down below in the description. I hope it helps you, and I'll see all of you in the next build video.